Coaches, imagine you could get fully booked and attract clients from anywhere in the world by harnessing the power of Facebook and Instagram ads, and do it in a way that is safe, predictable, even if you've got a small budget and you're not good with computers. Because over the last decade, I've invested well over $5 million on Facebook and Instagram ads with a 500% average return. And in this video, you're going to learn 15 Facebook ad secrets to get fully booked as a coach. So let's get started. Lesson number 1, do not boost posts. You should place Facebook ads properly with the Facebook Ads Manager. If you're looking at your Facebook page and you see that little blue button that says boost posts, do not click that. That's an ignorance tax. You're just going to throw $10, $50 at it, and then you're going to think Facebook ads don't work. By the way, when I'm talking about Facebook ads, I'm talking about Instagram ads as well. So the company Meta owns Facebook and Instagram. So the way you place an Instagram ad is you would go to the Facebook Ads Manager in the first place. And then when you're there, it gets a little bit technical, but there are different placements. You can place your ad on the Facebook news feed. You can place your ad on the Instagram mobile feed. You can place your ad on apps and other things like that. Number 2, you want to run a specific type of ad called evergreen ads, because you want to create an ad once and then use it multiple times. So what a lot of people do is they make the mistake, they create an ad and they say, hey, I've got a special promotion at the end of March, or I've got an event coming up and I'm coming to, Sydney or Singapore. But the problem with that is in the future, that's going to change. Now that information that changes, if you even change one character on that ad, you add a full stop, you change it from May to August, all of your likes, comments, and shares go back down to 0. That's why if you've seen some of our ads, we've been running them for years. We switch them on, we switch them off, but when we switch them back on, they have like 2,500 likes, 359 comments, 563 shares. That is what we call social proof. Another word for social proof is trust. So when people see that ad and they haven't heard of us before, it's going to say, Mary and your other friend Jonathan like Authentic Education already, or like Cham Tang already. It's called social proof, also known as trust. And if you've heard me talking about marketing before, trust is a must, because the definition of marketing is building relationships with people until they feel ready to buy. We have to have trust, and we have to have another thing called time. So when you do the ads like this, you can switch it on and off. If you need more clients, you switch it on. When you've got enough, you switch it off. So do not have any information that can change. Dates, times, cities, or anything else. You might be thinking, hey, Cham, where do they get that information of dates, times, and cities? They get it when they click. They get it on the next page. So where do you actually run the ad from? A lot of people, when they're first beginning, especially coaches, sometimes we want to be pretending that we're bigger than we are. So we're a solopreneur, but we don't want to be a solopreneur, so we don't call our page name our name. We call it like Evolve Education or something like that. That is a big mistake. In this day and age, people want to hear from an actual person. You can't really build a relationship with a company or a logo. You build it with the person. So the Facebook page, and yes, you have to create your ads from a Facebook page. I would not recommend creating it from a professional profile. I don't want to get into detail, but don't do that. The Facebook page, you can call your page anything. You could call it ABC Company. You could call it John Smith. You could call it John Smith Coaching. You could call it Ask Mary Smith. The best thing to call it is your full name. That's it. Cham Tang, not Cham Tang Marketing Mentor, Cham Tang from Authentic Education, Ask Cham. Because when you start adding any of those other words, people see it as that's a business. And what do businesses do on Facebook and Instagram? They sell stuff and their guard goes up. Your ads are just going to be about 10 to 15% more expensive if you do that. So just your full name and a photo of you, not a logo. We don't want to stand out and say, hey, everyone, I just entered the party and I've got a brochure and a business card. You don't want to stand out like that. You want to enter the party blending in just like everyone else. And what does everyone else do on Facebook and Instagram? Full name and their photo. That's it. People connect with faces, not logos. If you're looking for proof of this, it is called Facebook. By the way, you don't have to have a website. A lot of people think, do I need a website to place ads? Point number 4, you do not need a website. There is a thing called an instant form. This is where someone is scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, they see your ad, they click a button, and a form will pop up instantly, and they can fill those details in. You can have what fields you want on ththose forms. You can have, I want to ask for their name, their email address. Let's say you're a parenting coach. You can say, how many kids do you have? Do you like your husband? Well, whatever it is you want, you can put that there. 90% of people, by the way, they will not, if you are sending people to a web page, You don't have to have a website. Let me explain the difference. So let's say you've got a domain name, like you bought marysmith.com or something like that. You don't have to have a blog post and a homepage and about us and all these other things that you probably don't want to do. And it's, you've been thinking you should have been doing that for weeks and weeks. You just have to have one page, because 90% of the people who go to that page, they won't go back to your homepage. They won't look for your about us or anything like that. So if you are going to send them to your website, you only need one page. That page you send them to is called a landing page. Now, it's called a landing page because it's the page they land on when they click your actual ad, hence the term landing page, if you've ever been confused by that word before. By the way, that page, that landing page, it should not have a header with menu options and stuff that will distract them. And it should not have a footer, once again, with menu options and stuff that will distract them. A landing page should do one thing and one thing only. They either take the action, like register for a session, register for a free event. They either take that action or they do not take that action. They don't have to decide, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I go to the blog post? What about that? Like, there shouldn't be any of that. Number 5, start with a small budget. The minimum for Facebook ads is $1 US. Now, I'm not recommending you start there. I recommend our students start with $5 a day. Time is more important than the actual budget. So let's say you had $35 to spend. Spending that $35 today and then tomorrow switching off the ads is 100% not as good as spending $5 a day for 7 days. So whatever your budget is, I always want you to stretch it out for at least 7 days, because the way Facebook ads works in the background, there's an auction system. Some days the demand is higher, so therefore you're going to pay more. Some days it's lower. But it understands, because obviously Facebook ads has been doing this for a while, it understands how to spread your budget over a period of time. So whatever your budget is, before you make judgment on whether or not the ad worked, make sure it's done for at least 7 days. A lot of people, by the way, side note, when I start talking about money, they think, money, it's a waste of money. Let me ask you this question, rhetorical question. Right now, you might be thinking, what's the minimum I can invest? But imagine for every dollar you invested in Facebook ads, you made a 5 times return. You put $10 in, you get $50 back. $100 in, $500. $1,000, $5,000. $10,000, $50,000. $100,000, $500,000. $1 million, $5 million. That sounds far-fetched, Cham. Not really. All these figures is what we've invested over the last 10 years. I've invested well over $5 million. When that starts happening for you, your question will not be, what is the minimum I can invest? It's what's the most. Because marketing, when done correctly, it is not an expense like stationery that you want to limit. Is it an investment that drives growth that you want to maximize? When you get it right. If you can't get it right, then obviously it doesn't work. So as an example, a student of ours once taught correctly within 6 weeks, her name was Lisa Jane Hussey, $8,000 she made within that 6-week period. Number 6, the ad is the audience. 5 years ago, 10 years ago with Facebook, you used to select your audience and you could go very detailed with that audience. A woman between the age of 25 to 30 who was interested in personal development or spirituality or Tony Robbins or Marie Forleo. And she should also be interested in some of these other things, like maybe health or maybe parenting. And then I want to advertise to that person. These days, don't worry about any of that. You only select the main things you know to be true. If I was a coach for managers in IT or something like that, all I would select was the location. Let's say I only want to coach managers in San Diego. I select San Diego and that's it. Forget about male, forget about female, forget about age, forget about selecting managers. Let's say my ad says, attention managers, would you really like to have leadership skills, but all you know how to do is manage? No one's going to update their profile with that information. They just don't. It's less about what they say on their profile, because that's only 5 bits of information. It's more about the hundreds of hours that Facebook and Instagram has been watching them for over the last 10 years or over the last 2 weeks, reading their WhatsApp messages, doing all of that. So Facebook and Instagram understand very, very well what each person is doing on the platform. They know if they're a manager, they know if they're a parent. They don't have to update their profile or do anything. Just like if you go on TikTok, you don't update your profile. You sign up and you start scrolling. If you're on YouTube, you don't update your profile on YouTube. You sign up and you start watching videos. And based on that, it understands Facebook and Instagram is the same. So it's not, I want to attract managers. I got to select managers, or I should go to LinkedIn. Forget about all of that, it knows. So back to the point. The ad is the audience. When you call out the person and you call out the problem at the start of the ad, that is the audience. Attention mums, are you feeling guilty that you're trying to juggle your career and your family life? Who is that going to attract? Mums who feel guilty about juggling their career and family life. If you try and not say anything about that in the ad and select it with the audience, a mother does not update her profile and says, I'm a mum and I feel guilty that I'm trying to that they just don't. So when you're advertising to all mothers, you're wasting a lot of money. The trick is call out the person, call out the problem within the first 10 seconds of the ad. Attention coaches. Are you confused with marketing and want to attract more clients? Attention mums, do you want a better relationship with your kids? Here is a tip. It is a game of attraction, but it is also a game of repulsion. What I mean by that is we want to say things that will attract our ideal client, but we also want to say things that would repel someone that is not our ideal client. Let's say I'm a business coach and I'm trying to attract people who are already making money but want to scale to the next level. If I create an ad and I start saying, here are 4 tips for employee engagement, but then at the end, people realize, hang on, this is not for me because I'm a startup business. So yes, I am speaking to the business owner who wants to scale by giving employee tips for engagement, but I did not do the second most important thing, which is repel the person who is not my ideal client. So the start of that ad for a business coach should be attention business owners who want to go from 6 figures to 7 or 8 figures per year. And that kind of cuts out the startup person. So whoever your ideal client is, think about who they are, but you also have to think about who they are not. Next question might be, what do you actually put in the ad itself? Point number 7, we want to build relationships with people until they feel ready to buy. That's the definition of marketing. What builds a relationship? Selling you stuff? Hey everyone, I'm a coach. I've got this special on for the month of August. That's not building a relationship. A relationship is built when we give, not get. We want to give education, give teaching. So the best ad you could possibly do is an educational ad because that ad will hold their attention and build trust. For 100% transparency, this is not an ad, this video, but it's happening right now. You've been listening to me for about 5 minutes or something like that. 2 things have happened. I've held your attention because I'm teaching you stuff, but as I'm teaching you stuff, your trust in me should go up. So that is the foundation of every relationship. Trust and time. Attention is another word for time, and trust. When we teach people, it attracts time and it attracts trust. And now we have earned the right to ask them to take action. That's why if we're going to give out something that's free, it's free education. It's not discounts, because discounts don't teach, no time, no trust. You can't ask people to take action. So give them free education, give them a free event, give them a free strategy session or something like that. Next biggest question people have, what should the size of my ad be? Point number 8 is you want to take up as much real estate as possible. Whether or not you have a 1-second video or a 10-second video or a 5-minute video, it costs the same amount of money to place. Whether or not you have 1 line of text or 5 lines of text or 50 lines of text, it's the same amount of money. Whether or not your image is small or big, it costs the same amount of money. Rectangle images, because most people view things on a phone, rectangle images do not take as much space as square images. Even better than square is the ratio of what I call 4:5. It's kind of like a square, but that's a little bit longer. A 4:5 image or video will take up 122% more vertical space on someone's phone, which leads to the next point. How long should the ad be? Point number 9, 400 words approximately. So it should be approximately 400 words, which you may have heard me say, it's about 2,200 characters. But when we're having a look at it, that's a lot of text for a lot of people. So we need to make sure that text is readable, or as I like to call, snackable. So if I just show you a big block of text and it's just, there's no spaces, there's no emojis, there's no bullet points, there's no paragraphs, it's just like you see it and you just run for the hills because it looks like hard work. We need to have every 3 lines when viewed on mobile phone, something new has to happen, like bolding things. And if you're wondering, I can't bold things, there's a special website and stuff you could go to where you can bold the text. Adding an emoji, adding spaces, capitalizing something, but something needs to change. Sometimes people ask me, Cham, but 400 words, that sounds like a mini blog post. Shouldn't it be shorter? Because this other marketing agency or my friend or something I read online says people have short attention spans, so I should make it shorter. I've tested all of that before. I've tested 1 line, 5 lines, 20 lines, and I've just found the sweet spot is 400 words. Here's the thing. When you listen to some other people, like Instagram influencers, they're just teaching Instagrammers how to Instagram and how to sell an Instagram course. They're not running paid Facebook ads for coaches. If you're listening to someone who runs ads for e-commerce or big brands like, yeah, sure. If I'm doing an ad for McDonald's, I could say, hey, everyone, the new El Maco is out now. Tasty Mexican, fresh and healthy. Here's a picture. Go get it. That's not the same as a parenting coach. Your ideal client has all these questions. First off, who are you? Are you trustworthy? What is a parenting coach? Do you help me? Do I have a problem? I'm not sure. How do you do it? What is this thing that you're offering? Strategy session? What's a strategy session? How long does it go for? Is it on the phone? Is it on Zoom? What am I going to learn? Are you going to try and sell me something? Like, how long does it take? I've got all these questions. You can't do that in 5 lines. So we are not trying to make it as short as possible. We are trying to make it approximately 400 words. So a lot of people, by the way, they are learning from people who do not understand the coaching industry. If someone has not placed ads for coaching or a similar industry, personal development industry, then their advice is just worthless. In essence, worthless, in my opinion, because it doesn't apply at all. So an ad should be done properly and be very snackable. Point number 10. Emojis can give you 12% more clients. Now, I know 12% doesn't sound like much, but hey, they're just emojis. They're kind of like the herbs and spices of copy. Sprinkle a couple of emojis. Not too much, obviously, not an emoji every line, but also not too little. It's just a very quick win and something easy to do. And it just makes it look more exciting. So as an example, a quick hack, I use emojis as bullet points. So let's say I might have a couple of frequently asked questions at the end of my ad. I would put thinking face emoji. Why is the event free? Thinking face emoji again. Is it for me if I'm this type of person? So the emoji makes it snackable, but it also conveys emotion. So it's a lot better to say, we've got an upcoming event, make a difference and a living doing what you love. But at the end of love, put a love heart on it, on the end of it, just to mix things up as well. How long, if I'm running a video, how long should the video be? By the way, if you're able to run a video, I 100% recommend it. Is an amazing skill to have because you can build a relationship with people so much quicker with video versus text. Imagine how much you feel, even if you've met me for the first time, imagine how much more you feel you can know, like, and trust me seeing on video versus, blog posts and stuff like that. So ideally it is a video, but if you're not ready, you can start off with image and text ads. And whether or not it's an image and text or a video, I would say about 80% of your ads, you want them to be educational. If it's going to be an educational ad, it is between 5 to 10 minutes long. I don't want to scare people. That's just the best. If you want to teach someone, build a relationship of value, and then offer the next step, whatever your next step is, like a free advanced strategy session or offer, 5 to 10 minutes. Keep in mind, you pay the same amount of money regardless. If you put a 5-second ad, Facebook will say, I need my $5 for the day. If you put a 10-minute ad, Facebook will say, I need my $5 for the day. So you should maximize your investment. Number 12, videos must have captions. It's just a non-negotiable. 83% of people who watch videos on their phone will watch it without sound because they're at work, they're in the toilet, their partner's sleeping next to them, they're on the train. No matter what you do, they ain't turning on the sound. If you do not have captions, you are not literally throwing your money down the toilet, but you're throwing your money down the toilet, so to speak. So you got to have captions. I use CapCut for captions. There's lots of different ways you can use captions, but yes, I feel that is one of the best. The next biggest thing, number 13, you have to handle objections in the ad. A lot of times we just focus on the positive. Here's all the reasons you should do something, but it's kind of like a mini sales pitch. So as a sales pitch, so to speak, we need to be on the front foot and handle objections. So think of reasons why people won't take action on your ad and talk about that openly. So if you're asking someone to come to a free event, think about all the reasons they wouldn't. So as an example, they might think, is this going to be stuff I've heard before? So somewhere in the ad, towards the end, you could start going through frequently asked questions. Is this going to be stuff I've heard before? And then you answer that. Why is the event free? And then you answer that. Is it for me? Then you answer that. Am I going to be hard sold to? Just be 100% transparent. I feel that in this day and age, people, they respect and appreciate transparency and truth so much more, and it builds the trust as well. Number 14, don't reinvent the wheel. If you're doing anything in marketing, especially Facebook ads, don't try and start from scratch. Let others do the testing for you. Model others. In marketing, we don't guess, we test. Look at other people's ads. Scroll through your phone and you're probably going to see ads that are in a similar niche or industry. Look at what they're doing. If they've been running ads for a while, then you can actually kind of model or copy some of those ads as well. Not copy word for word, but you get an idea of what's happening. If you want the best, you have to test as well. It's not just about having one ad and then saying, hey, Cham, I tried this one ad and it didn't work. Therefore, Facebook ads doesn't work. No, it 100% works. It's just your first time. You want to test at least 3 different ads. When I'm saying 3 different ads, when you first begin, wildly different ads. It could be, let's say I'm a parenting coach. It could be, attention mums, do you have mum guilt? It could be another one that says, hey, what is the ideal life that you would like to have with your kids? Can you picture being happy and harmonious? And then the third one is, you just had an argument with your husband and he said X, Y, Z. They're very different. I'm not talking about just changing an image, just changing the first line. I'm saying wildly different, because when you first begin, it's kind of like you're digging for gold, so to speak. You could be about to strike gold, but imagine if you dig 3 holes that are only like 10 meters apart. It's not the best way to look for gold. You should be digging different sections. Next to the ocean, under that hill, by the Rocky Mountains, whatever it is. Number 15, avoid fatal errors. It gets a bit technical, but when you first start placing an ad with the Facebook Ads Manager, one of the very first options you have is called a campaign objective. Mark my words, when that comes, you're going to be confused. Select the one that says leads. For 99% of people, just select leads. Once you've selected leads, if you do not have a website, you can then go to instant forms. If you do have a website, you select the one that says conversions, so they go to your website. So from the top, when you see the campaign objective, select leads. If you have a website, select conversions, that will send them to your website. If you do not have a website, select instant forms. The reason I bring this up is if you get this wrong, it is called a fatal error. Every other option you select from there on in, your budget, your actual ad, your audience, how long the ad runs for, the image, all of that won't matter. Why? Because that first option was a fatal error. As marketers, we are solopreneurs or we are small businesses. We are not thinking of awareness. We are not thinking of branding in that way. When I run an ad, I am thinking of direct response. I place an ad, people directly respond to me now. They don't just watch the ad and then do nothing. I want to see a return on investment right now. If you ever speak to a marketing agency or a consultant and they show you a pretty graph of what they've done and they said, oh, we've got 50 likes and all of these vanity metrics, and we have built brand awareness for you. Run the other way. Cancel the contract immediately. It's total BS. This is not what we do as direct response. But Cham, what about the actual steps to attract clients, the details? Glad you asked. If you're interested in learning the only 7 marketing methods I recommend, a step-by-step process on how to attract clients from scratch, I've put together an entire masterclass that outlines how we have gone from not knowing anything about business to building over a $55 million revenue business and helping thousands of coaches across the world do just that. So this is perfect for you if you're in the phase of getting clients. Just click the link below to learn more. I'm going to take everyone off mute to say goodbye. Until we meet again, just remember, you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it started, team. See you all next time.
Thanks, Cham. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you later, everyone.